Isn't our CSL Dallas music team amazing? Absolutely. And welcome everybody. Good morning, CSL Dallas. We welcome you wherever you are in the world, and thank those who are joining us right here on campus. Every day we learn and practice something important that makes a difference. We love that you are on this journey with us today, and we have a special way to make disruption sacred by dreaming big and dreaming fierce with our very special guest, Reverend Karen Frost. So join me for today's celebration by pitting your hands together for the CSL Dallas Music Team.
For years I would talk about how I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. Then I finally realized that I needed to take a stand, and that by changing my thinking I could change my life. And that's how I could change the world. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy, joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let there be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let there be love. I am a stand for love. Let there be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now. We are making a new world now.
Right on, CSL Dallas. Good morning, everybody. Welcome here in the sanctuary on campus and everybody online live streaming with us. We're so glad you're here with us today. It's hot outside, but it is cool inside CSL Dallas. We're glad you're here with us today. First of all, I want to remind you, we ask you every week, check in on your social media. Wherever your favorite platform is, check in. Let those people know you're here at CSL Dallas, because so many people find us online, and that's where it all begins. Help them get into the conditions where they can transform their lives for the better, and it starts with you. In fact, let's start by reading out our purpose statement together. If we can catch the next slide, here we go. Everyone, we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, transforming lives. And so it is. All right, got a few announcements before we rock on into an awesome service this morning, especially with our guest speaker, Reverend Karen. First of all, to remind you, the Gooch uniform drive for the elementary scholars is in full effect right now. I mean, we're promoting it on Facebook. You can go to Facebook, to the CSL Dallas page, and find a posting there. You can certainly go to our website. Find any one of us over in Pankey Hall after the service. We can help you with a kiosk where you can sign up to contribute. CSL Dallas has been a community partner for Gooch Elementary School. This is a public school, but it's very, very progressive. It's in the DISD, or Dallas ISD. We've been supporting them for 15 years. Gooch serves children who attend in the most brilliant ways. First of all, they refer to them as scholars rather than students. They refer to them as our scholars, which is kind of a neat way to be very affirmative in what they say about the children. They call them scholars, and they also hang collegiate flags outside every classroom. So it's just built into their perception that college is a thing in the future that does exist, and it can be for them. 90% of those scholars come from families that are below the poverty line. So our community is so passionate about supporting them. Every year we collect funds for at least 100 school uniforms. They cost $50 a piece, so we need your contribution to help make that happen. It's really important for the children to raise their self-esteem and to show up at school in a brand new uniform, and you can help make that happen. It's a great way to assist a child standing in their power, their brilliance, and their creativity. Thank you for your support. Lainey Bernstein is having a party at the end of the month. Okay, it's happy and it's sad because next Sunday will be her last Sunday singing with us here on the music team. The Sunday after. And then the party is on July 30th. Come hear about Lainey's amazing story of growing her gift here. She wants to share with you, and it's a time for us to send her off in a very special way. We can write love notes, take selfie pictures at a photo op area at the party, and we just generally love her up and give her all our best wishes as she moves on into the next adventure in her life. And there are tickets available to the event at csldallas.org, so go there today and get your ticket. Also on July 24th, Michael Brundy, our own Michael Brundy, will be speaking here on the podium, so mark that on your calendar. Yeah, it's always great to have Michael on the podium. His talk is Attitude is Everything. Now think about the times in your life when how you showed up in a particular situation affected the outcome in a positive way. Chances are it was all due to your attitude in the moment. So Michael Brundy will be speaking from the podium on July 24th. Make sure you're here to show your support and walk away with a whole new attitude. Now let's settle in and go within, joining our music team as we sing Open Wide My Heart.
Open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Open wide my open wide my heart. Open wide my heart. Open wide my
So just take that in. Dropping into that still and quiet place. Feeling that energy in the heart opening. Trusting that presence of love that not only beats the heart, it is the heart. It is the space between the heartbeats. It is that place of no fear. It is that place of no hold back. It is that place of courage. And behind it is that ocean of pure potentiality that tumbled and rolled you out you, an emanation of the one heart, one life, one power, one presence, and you wouldn't be here without its need of you. And so move from that place. Join us together, surrendered to that precious guiding light. That place that knows that it's nothing about deserving or having to do or get it right. It's already all right. Open wide my heart. The one heart, our heart, the heart of this community, the heart of every heart beyond these walls, these words. Simply drop in and feel it open and know that it is supported by so much love right here and right now. And so we come together trusting, open, dreaming big, allowing this time together to be a blessing, to move us forward together and individually. And so I call it good and blessed, and so it is.
You and me, 'cause God is all there is. One life
some special guests coming to perform for us. I'm going to go ahead and bring up Priscilla, Progress, and Chietza. They, yeah, I met them last week, and they're like, we should sing for you. And I'm like, yeah. And then they did, and I was like, you should sing for all of us next week. So they're going to sing for us. Push the button.
Okay, the first song we're going to sing, we are originally from Zimbabwe, so, oh, I love that. So the first song we're going to sing, it is the voice of the divine, reminding each and every one of us that we are forever guided. So you will hear us say, Tungamira, Tungamira. That's the voice saying, I'll guide you, I'll guide you. And then we get to a part where it says, be still, for I am forever guiding you. So just a reminder to each and every one of us that we are forever being guided.
Usacheme nekuti inindine wendi chakutungamira. Usacheme nekuti inindine wendi chakutungamira. Tungamira, 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 ni chakutungamira. Chakutungamira, nyararisa nekuti inindine wendi chakutungamira. Tungamira, tungamira, ni chakutungamira. Tungamira, tungamira, ni chakutungamira. Chinyarara nekuti inindine wendi chakutungamira. Chinyarara nekuti inindine wendi chakutungamira. Tungamira, tungamira, ni chakutungamira. Kutungamira. Light, peace, and love. 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 You gave us light. You gave us light. Divine light. Divine light. You gave us light again. Divine light. You gave us light. Divine light. You gave us light again. Divine light. Without your light, we are nothing. You gave us peace. Divine peace. You gave us peace again. nothing.
You gave us love. Divine love.
Divine love.
You gave us love again. Divine love.
You gave us love.
You gave us love.
You gave us love.
Divine love.
Divine love.
You gave us love again. Divine love.
Without your love, we are nothing.
I'm choosing life.
I'm choosing light.
Divine light.
Divine light.
I'm choosing light again. Divine light.
Without your light, we are nothing.
I'm choosing peace.
I'm choosing peace.
Divine peace.
Divine peace.
I'm choosing peace again. Divine peace.
Without your peace, we are nothing.
I'm choosing love.
Choosing love.
Divine love.
Divine love.
I'm choosing love again. Divine love.
Without your love, we are nothing.
Thank you, Priscilla, Progress, and Chietza. Oh, so did you know when you got up this morning you were going to take a little trip to Zimbabwe? Zimbabwe, yes. So as those of you who've been with us for a while, you know that CSL Dallas is a prime destination for many people in our movement because of how we are and who we are. And anytime that Dr. Petra, Reverend Karen are going to be away, there are many people who are in line saying, ask me to come speak at CSL Dallas. I want to speak at CSL Dallas. And we're here, so we know we get the best speakers from the CSL movement whenever we have a guest, yes? In Centers for Spiritual Living, there are a little more than 900 active ministers in our movement, but fewer than 24 of them are younger than 45 years old. So what I have experienced is that some of our younger ministers really stand out because they are bringing the same message, but in a different way. There are 3 titles that Reverend Karen Frost holds at the current moment. One of them is the founder and senior minister of a ministry called Spirit Uncensored. Okay, think about that. Spirit Uncensored, right? And so she is the founding and senior minister of that ministry. She also serves as the assistant minister at our CSL community in Oklahoma City, just up the road a little bit. And she also has the title of fiancé, about to be married in a few months, to Elle. Elle, please stand up so that we can welcome you too. And I think that title may be the most important one, but I'm going to focus on the ministry right now. So our purpose is we are radically inclusive, spiritually progressive, and transforming lives. So I want to tell you why Reverend Karen Frost is the perfect person to speak with us today. She is radically inclusive both because of her own background and her own life and the ways that she has had to learn to be active and a leader in so many different communities. And she is spiritually progressive, which you can kind of guess by the fact that her ministry is titled Spirit Uncensored. And she has hosted a number of events in her own ministry and even in Oklahoma City, bringing in people who may not normally consider themselves wanting to come to church. And she walks her talk. In everything that she teaches and everything that she does, and in every experience I have had of Reverend Karen Frost, she is actually demonstrating her commitment to transform lives in general and to transform her own life. My guess is she will share a couple of stories that help you understand that more deeply, but I can think of no one in our movement who I would rather have come and bring a message about dreaming big and dreaming fierce. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Karen Frost.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. That was an incredible introduction, Tracy Brown. She said to me when I came in, I don't know what I'm going to say, but I know it's going to be amazing. And I am glad to know that that was true. That is exactly how I feel. And I love that she made it clear that CSL Dallas is like the it place. And let me just be clear about what that means for me, that when the pandemic began and that many of us were watching church from home in our pajamas, I was in LA at the time, and being able to watch Centers for Spiritual Livings across the country all in one day was something that I had never really had the privilege to do. I was always going to church, doing my thing, and coming home. But I would get up at 8 a.m. and watch the East Coast services and the Central Time Zone. And so because of the different time zones, I was able to watch CSL Dallas pretty consistently. And at the time that in June of 2020, when we started having these conversations, challenging conversations about race, for me, CSL Dallas was the only place that was equipped to have that conversation. I was watching all of these centers, 7, 8 services in the morning, and ministers across the country were like, this really stinks, but we don't really know what to say and what the spiritual truth of it is. And Reverend Petra and Reverend Karen obviously had been doing this for a long time, and so they really knew the right thing to say. And I felt a lot of comfort in LA watching CSL Dallas's services in the morning. So at that time, and that sort of relates to this theme of dream big, dream fierce, because at that time, I was serving as a TV executive at Viola Davis's production company, Juvie Productions. And thank you. And that was a dream for me. Being a scripted TV executive was absolutely a dream for me. However, the way that I ended up coming to that dream of TV executive is because I was terrified of being a TV writer. That the concept of needing to go from TV show to TV show, never knowing if that series is ever going to air. And at the time that I made a conscious decision that I wanted to be a TV executive, that decision was really made out of fear. The research that I had done showed that white men were prevalent as TV writers. And as a half-black, half-Jewish lesbian, I thought I might not fit in rooms like that. And so I thought, well, okay, like if this industry is not designed for me to be a writer, what I can do is help change the industry. So I had this big dream of being someone who can make it so that TV writers had opportunities that they didn't have before. And so I moved to LA with this big dream. In fact, the way that I even made the decision to move to LA to begin with came out of the Centers for Spiritual Living. I did not have a definition of faith that worked for me. And so the idea of moving to a city where I knew no one with this big dream felt like a pipe dream. The people around me would often joke about how I would always say that I was moving to LA, but would never do it. And so I felt like I needed an idea, a definition of faith that made logical sense. And when I would go into various spiritual centers of different spiritual traditions, they was just, for me, it was rooted in myth. And I needed facts. I needed science. I needed to know that faith could be something definite and that I could believe in the universe, God. I needed an idea of God that worked for me. And so I Googled spirituality in Chicago. That's where I was living at the time, and found the Center for Spiritual Living in Chicago, later known as the Bodhi Spiritual Center. Got that definition of faith that I needed, packed up my car, got in the car, and moved to Los Angeles. So that road of becoming a TV executive was incredibly difficult for me. No part of me recognized that that difficulty was because I actually wanted to be a TV writer and not a TV executive. And so I was writing, I continued to write, and I would say, the only reason I'm writing is so that I have an opportunity to get into meetings, that people could read my work, pass my work along, recommend me to such and such place. And so I just kind of used it as an excuse. This is why I'm writing. And so I did that, used my excuses, and really was not getting anywhere I wanted to go. And that's actually, fun fact, how I became a minister, is I was taking literally every class that the Global Truth Center in Los Angeles had to offer. And with every class, I saw significant transformation in my life. So 2.5 years into living in Los Angeles, I still had not had a full-time job in the television industry at all. And Sacred Disruption, absolutely my jam. Like, this is why I wanted to work in television to begin with. I wanted, the fact that millions of people are watching this content. I wanted to develop, make, produce, whatever it is, be involved in content on television that inspired millions of people. I wanted to perform Sacred Disruption on a mass level. And so for me, it was important to only be working for companies and people that were doing that kind of work in the television industry. And the television industry is not filled with people doing that kind of work. So it took me a while to get to where I wanted to go. And 2.5 years, I had a part-time job. It took me a year and a half to get that part-time job, and I was just frustrated. And maybe the third week of my practitioner class, we had a homework assignment of identify a condition in your life that you would like to change, and then identify the belief that you have that created that condition to begin with. And the entire time that I've been taking all of these classes, I had never thought about how I had not found success in the TV industry because of my own beliefs. There was something happening in my own beliefs that was preventing this. So I spent that week thinking about it. What are the barriers that I have put between myself? What mixed message am I giving to the universe that this is something that I don't want? And dug into my beliefs, found a bunch of them, and the assignment was to write a prayer, because back in the first week of practitioner class, they weren't expecting you to be able to just pray in front of people with comfort. So it was to write a prayer and read that prayer out loud to class. And so wrote that prayer, was standing, it was just like 8 p.m. On a Thursday night or something like that, and I'm standing in class reading my prayer, and I feel my phone buzz in my pocket, and I make a mental note to go check what that message is when I go sit down at the desk. Open my phone, and I see an email from the president of a production company asking me if I'm still looking for a job. So that moment was one of many moments that was demonstrating to me these classes were working. So I wasn't actually trying to be a practitioner. No part of me was trying to stand on a stage in Dallas sharing this story at that point when it occurred. I was taking these classes because they were helping me. As y'all say here, TSRW, right? So I was enjoying the fact that this works and taking all of the classes that I could find that would help me be the person that I want to be and allow me to experience that sacred disruption across the world. And so kept taking the classes, and the moment that I became a minister, basically it was like the skies opened up. That not only did my TV career take off, but my ministry career took off. And I wasn't trying to have a ministry career. So it wasn't even, I was just following it. I trusted that ministry was a calling, and that even though I didn't know what I wanted to do with ministry, that I was just trusting Spirit to guide the process, guide the flow. And so I told a friend, I was hired as the office manager at Juvie Productions, and I told a friend that my dream was to be a scripted TV executive, that I was done being an assistant, I was ready to be an executive, but being an office manager, not even in the TV department, but as an office manager at Juvie, how am I going to be an executive anytime soon? And my friend said to me, my practitioner friend said to me, God is bigger than all of that. Doesn't matter what you think you know about the TV industry. God is bigger than all of that. Do you want to pray about it? And I was like, absolutely. And so this person prayed with me, and 8 months later, I was a TV executive at Juvie Productions. Like I said, TSRW, right? So at Juvie, there is a giant sign, a giant glass wall, and if I had a picture of it, I would have brought it, but I don't. Giant glass wall that said, dream big, dream fierce. And where I sat as an office manager, that was plastered right behind me. So every day, I sat in front of a giant glass wall that affirmed, that reminded me to dream big, dream fierce. And while I was sitting in that chair, it became very clear to me that I always wanted to be a TV writer, that I had made this decision to become an executive because it felt safe, because I knew what I was going to be doing every day. I knew where I was going to go. I wouldn't have to worry about going from show to show, job to job. I could just be still, have benefits, my company credit card, and live my best life. And I was doing that. But at the same time, because I had this reminder of my dream every time I walked in the door, I couldn't, my voice that was coming up with TV ideas was not being quiet. And so I told the head of TV, I said, I really want to be a TV writer. And he said, I fully support you in that. I will read every draft of every script you write. I will give you notes. I will fully support you in your dream of being a TV writer. So I'm in this place that's telling me to dream big, dream fierce, with resources to do the kinds of things that I want to do. And the very first script that I turned into him, full of red marks. Like, I'm thinking this is like the best script, and it was. It was literally the best script I had ever written, but it's just, he shredded it to pieces. And so I had this like, oh no, this thing that I always said I wanted to do, I am terrible at. But I would sit with it, and I understood what his notes were, and every draft that I turned in, it got easier and easier. It was clear that I was getting better and better as I went along. So this brings us to June of 2020. In LA, the city of LA is on fire. We have a 4 p.m. curfew, and I'm at this company. The reason I'm at this company is because I want to participate in sacred disruption. And as the city I'm living in is on fire, we're going into these meetings talking about the same projects we were talking about 6 months ago, doing the same things we were talking about 6 months ago. And I was like, I cannot do this. I cannot pretend like the city is not on fire. I cannot pretend like we don't have a 4 p.m. curfew right now. There is something that needs to be said about what's going on right now. And my job as a TV executive is not addressing that. And there is nothing I can do about this. And it felt like that people were in a state of trauma. We were living in a global pandemic. We were having difficult conversations about race. And the TV industry was like, well, let's just keep doing what we were doing and trust that it's going to be okay at the right time. And I was just like, I cannot do that. This is not going to work for me. And as Tracy mentioned, I founded Spirit Uncensored because, like I said, my TV career took off at the same time my ministry took off. So basically, centers around Southern California had just been calling me and asking me to speak, and I was posting, I'm speaking here, I'm speaking there, and people in Hollywood were like, what is this? Like, you're a TV executive and a minister? Like, what is this? Where are you going? What are you doing? And how do I do what you did? And so I thought, okay, I'm going to create a monthly event just so that all of these people who are asking where they can see me speak and how I got to where I got, they can come to this one place and learn about how I do what I do. And the very first event that we had, in my mind, what I was doing was creating like some kind of monthly group. I thought we'd have like 10 people at the first one. Maybe we'd read a book every month and talk about it. I was just trusting Spirit to guide the whole flow. And I went to this next gen retreat that some couple of you have been to here, one of the Next Gen age. Next Gen is for people who are 19 to 35-ish, to serve that underserved demographic that Tracy Brown spoke of earlier. And it's this retreat that's designed for that. And I was right in that 35-ish mark and showed up there, and all these people were like throwing curse words in the middle of prayer, and I was like, yes, this is what church should be. And so I got the name Spirit Uncensored from that, and Amy Steinberg, who's this incredible New Thought musician, yeah, she was the performer at that retreat. And so Amy Steinberg said, I don't know who you are, I don't know what you're doing, but Spirit told me that I need to perform at your very first thing, whatever that is. And I was like, crazy, I'm doing this thing called, I just decided it's called Spirit Uncensored, and I had the date, I had the location. Amy's like, sign me up, I'll do it. And so I had like Amy Steinberg, and people, as I was walking through the streets of LA, people would say things like, hey, what's this thing you're doing? Where's it gonna be? What's it gonna be about? And I was like, there's a lot of people asking me this question for this room that I've got. So like, maybe I need a bigger space. And I called up a center in Burbank, and I said, can I try this thing out? They're like, yeah, sure. And so they gave it to me for $100. We had 65 people. There was a full band who I did not hire, a sound technician I did not hire, and teenage boys showed up saying, could we represent Spirit Uncensored at CSL Teen Camp? And I'm like, I was not trying to do any of this. Like, I thought we were gonna read a book and talk about it. Like, what is happening here? So Spirit Uncensored like started out huge, and then I was just suddenly a senior minister and also a TV executive. And so in June of 2020, while I'm looking at all of these things, looking at the fact that my dream is to be a TV writer, looking at the fact that I got this spiritual center that is now virtual, I had this moment of realizing that as a sacred disruptor, what is mine to do, Tracy Brown? What is mine to do is to listen to Spirit within, to know that I have no idea how and what, but I know that if Spirit is telling me that it is time to shift, that it is time to trust, that it is time to move, then it is what is mine to do is to do that. And so I heard Spirit say loud and clear that it was time for me to focus on my dream of being a TV writer. And I needed to leave Juvie to do that. And even though I loved everything that I was doing there, I loved the projects that we created. I was talking, when Kirby told me that he was gonna ask these 3 women to perform this Sunday, I said that that was perfect because the kind of content that we produced at Juvie was African people living a life of beauty and peace and love and conscious connection. And those were the kinds of stories that we had never seen before. We developed a movie called Woman King. Kirby said he had just seen the trailer for that, so check that out on YouTube, which is Viola Davis starring as this woman warrior that's based on a true life story of this army in Benin, an army of women in Benin that won this incredible victory. And those are the kinds of stories that weren't being told. We developed a Octavia Butler novel called Wild Seed at Amazon. I have no idea where that is right now and if it's moving forward or not, but it's just this sci-fi story of women in Nigeria with powers. It's a sci-fi story, so they've got special powers, and it's just this incredible story. And so I had this opportunity to develop and pitch and sell stories like that. This was what I thought was my dream job. But as I'm walking into that office, reminding me to dream big, dream fierce, I know what is mine to do is to tell those stories myself. That I got some experience producing those stories, and now it's time to believe in myself. And to believe that as Spirit has put this dream in my heart, this is indeed what is mine to do. So at that time, in June, while the city was on fire, I wrote a script, sent it off to ABC, and was a finalist for the ABC Television Fellowship that year, but I was a finalist. Thank you. The thing about the finalist was that when I had my interview, they said, well, you're a TV executive. Like, can't you just like call up people and say, like, give me a job on a TV show? Why do you need us? And I'm like, well, if I could do that, I wouldn't be with you right now. So they made it really clear that they just wanted me to do my own thing, try my own thing for a while, because I just left Juvie. I left Juvie like a month prior. So they're like, go out, do your thing, write some more and come back to us if you need to, but like we trust that you're going to be good. And so I continued writing. I was frustrated by the fact that ABC did not let me in, but trusted, Spirit, this is not the right program for me. Spirit felt like this was the right thing. I would be in it. So I continued to just be present, to pray about it, to trust Spirit. And in May of 2021, I went to Oklahoma City. I was visiting a friend who was her son was graduating from high school. And when I got to Oklahoma City, I heard Spirit very clearly say, blow up your life and move here. And I was like, what? I'd been married for 10 years. I just celebrated my 10-year wedding anniversary. Oklahoma City, like what? I'm from Chicago. I lived in LA. I was like, what? And so I was like, this isn't, I don't even know. I have no idea what to do about this. So the entire time I was in Oklahoma City, I went deep into prayer because it's just like, what is this? The moment that I came home, got off the plane, first thing that the person I was married to said was, while you were in Oklahoma City, I realized that I didn't want to be with you anymore. And I was like, while I was in Oklahoma City, I wasn't thinking about leaving her. I was just thinking about just hearing that message. And so I said, I am meant to live in Oklahoma City. I don't know how, I don't know why, but that's what's coming through clear for me. And she said, I'm ready for divorce right now. Let's get a peace mediator. Here's a Google Doc of the way that I want to split our stuff up. Looked at it. All of it was great. The peace mediator was fantastic. Easiest peasiest divorce I've ever heard of in real life. And I just kind of like stayed present with it. And she said, I'd like you to leave as soon as possible. And so looked at the calendar. 4th of July fell on a weekend, and I didn't have a whole lot planned. I didn't have anything planned for July. I'd been planned through June, had some speaking things in June, but July, wide open. And so I got in the car and moved to Oklahoma City. And when I got to I got an Airbnb for 4 days, and maybe the second day, because it was the 4th of July, there was nowhere, like I couldn't just get an apartment on the 4th of July. So I had to wait till like, the 5th of July was a Monday, so everything was closed. So Tuesday, I was ready, looked for apartments, couldn't find anything, and then Spirit was like, go to the United Life Center in Oklahoma City. So I was like, all right, Spirit brought me here, Spirit's telling me to go there, that's what I'm doing. So I go to Oklahoma, to United Life, and then when I got there, I didn't even think about this. Spirit just said through me, I would like to be the assistant minister of this center. I had never seen a service. I had never met anybody there. It was just like what I said. And Reverend Lynn Nowicki said, great. Our core council meeting is on Sunday. We will vote you in then. And there we go. And so I was the assistant minister right away. And then I found, like, there was an apartment that was like a mile down the road, looked at it. It was ugly as all get out, but it was furnished. It was my price range. And so I agreed to it. And then I was like, hey, can I see the apartment upstairs? That apartment upstairs, much less ugly than the one they showed me. I don't know why. That's what they showed me first. So had my furnished apartment, lived there, prayed, meditated, dreaming big, dreaming fierce. And I forgot to mention that right before I left, somebody reached out to me, a good friend reached out to me and said, hey, I'm a manager now. Do you need representation as a writer? I absolutely do need representation as a writer. And so I had this big meeting and I said, hey, I'm feeling like I'm moving to Oklahoma City. And the manager was like, fantastic. Now was the best time ever to live somewhere else and be a TV writer. All of the TV rooms are virtual right now. Go wherever you want to go. Do your thing. Oklahoma City has a much lower cost of living than Los Angeles. Go there, do that. And so I'd had this like stamp of approval from the TV industry, from Spirit. The other title that Tracy did not mention, 'cause she may not know this, is I'm a case manager at a youth homeless shelter right now. And so I'm just like, I can feed myself. I'm taking care of myself, but having flexibility in my schedule gives me time to write. I have a 4-day work week, and I sort of like basically drive youth around to wherever they need to go, and my job as a minister sort of just inspires them to live their best life, to dream big, dream fierce. So I'm saying all of this to say that, like, we have no idea where our lives are going to turn. We have no idea when Spirit is going to whisper something that sounds absolutely crazy in our ear. But the experience of sacred disruption requires not only that we do our own individual work so that we can hear Spirit to begin with, but it requires us to trust Spirit to take us places that we would never think we would go. So even though today I am still not a TV writer, I'm living this life of dreaming big and dreaming fierce. As Tracy Brown said, that I live my life by example. The reason that I have a ministry is because I just live my life by example, and people show up to participate in conversations about that. Spirit Uncensored has a service on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. Central called Raw Authentic Conversation, and that's exactly what it is. We start right at 7, pray in, we have a conversation about the theme of the week, and then we pray out. There are 2 questions. Check-in questions are 1, how you be? 2 is, what does today's theme mean to you? And I totally vibe with the fact that CSL Dallas uses your own themes. Sacred disruption is a sort of theme that the Centers for Spiritual Living has not yet gotten down with. But I'm happy to say that I'm on the Global Themes team. I was on the Global Themes team this year. So next year, there's some very interesting titles going around. I talk about some things in the Global Themes team that CSL has never talked about before. And there just happen to be leadership in charge who are all for me doing that. So that works out really well. And I love this theme of sacred disruption. I'm going to try and incorporate that into the next one because I'm absolutely staying on that team. Because this is what sacred disruption looks like for me, is that Spirit Uncensored represents a perspective that CSL doesn't often do, and then I get to bring that uncensored perspective to the greater global community as well, just sprinkling that in. So as you are exploring your own relationship to sacred disruption, whatever dream is on your own heart, I invite you to embrace it, to listen to it, to stop ignoring it, and to trust that Spirit is guiding you on the perfect journey. And regardless of the fact that it may seem like it's taking forever, every lesson that you're learning along the way is valuable. It took me 7 years to become a TV executive, but I fully understand that without those 7 years, I would have never been a minister. And being a minister has become one of the greatest joys of my life. It was not what I set out to do, but it's become, I'm standing here right now. I'm grateful to have an opportunity to participate in sacred disruption from where I stand in all places where I go. So I would love for us to move into prayer and cement whatever idea that we have on our hearts, to trust that Spirit is guiding that flow, guiding us where we need to go, and at the same time that we are getting rid of whatever is standing in the way, whatever beliefs that are standing in the way, to stand in our truth and trust and know that Spirit has our backs at all times in all ways. So I invite you to take a moment to get comfortable in your seats. And I love how so many of you talk about going within. Let's go within. Knowing and trusting that our own understanding of Spirit is the right and perfect understanding. As what was said earlier in prayer, the universe has brought us here by divine appointment. We are the identities that we are in this space in time in history for a specific reason. That each one of us was inspired to participate and engage in a spiritual community that defies the norm for a reason. Each one of us is participating in sacred disruption right now. And I am so grateful that each one of us was called to this, that we have heard that call. And I trust and know that whatever our big dreams are that lie in our heart are placed there by divine appointment. That each one of us is here today, participates in this community, listens to the talks that are provided here over the course of this month for a reason. We are being inspired to dream fierce, to fiercely believe in our dreams, to fiercely believe in our own understanding of who and what God is, to trust and know that we are on our right path. And our decision to trust that path and walk that path inspires others to do the same. We are actively participating in sacred disruption right now. So I am so grateful for the shift that takes place in our individual lives because we are saying yes to this, for the shift that takes place in our communities because we say yes to this, and for the shift that takes place in the universe because The universe says yes to whatever it is that we choose. So as we choose sacred disruption, the universe supports us in this decision and allows for that disruption to occur. And I am so grateful for all of the blessings received because we are affirming this in prayer together. And I invite us to affirm this word by saying, and so it is.
Reverend Karen Frost. What a blessing this morning. I hope you feel you were in the right place at the right time this morning. So far, so good? Yeah. Let's ask our greeters to come forward now as we enter into the abundance portion of today's celebration. You know, it's important that we give back to the source of our spiritual nourishment. We want you to take the opportunity to participate in that today. If we could get the clicker and click forward up on the screen to our affirmation. Oh, do I have it? I got it.
You got it, or you want me to?
No, go ahead. Thank you so much. This is our abundance affirmation together. Let's say this together. Today, I live in the joyous expectation of good. Abundance manifests in everything I do. CSL Dallas is now receiving its abundance in joy, with gratitude, and with a complete sense of security. And so it is. And your gifts are a blessing to CSL Dallas as we continue to maintain the light that we are to the world. They also, in return, are a blessing to you. We hope you're open to receiving every blessing available to you here today. There are many ways to give. You can see us at csldallas.org/give. If you're not in the sanctuary making a gift today, you can also text the word give to the number on the screen. Also, you can use a QR code, or you can Venmo us. And though everyone that's online, especially, please do recognize we count on your generosity to make sure that we can keep up with our live stream and our YouTube channel, make this message available anytime and everywhere that people need it across the globe. So please do support our work today. Now, a couple of things coming up. We want to round out with some announcements. There is a class coming up, How to Live Your Life's Purpose. This is on July 30th. If you've been longing to kind of try to find a new sense of purpose, then you can join us for this amazing time. There are 3 steps that will be explored that can help you release beliefs about your past and open you up to new possibilities. The course is designed not only to help you find a new sense of purpose, but also then give you the pathway to manifesting it. Your greatest potential is waiting for you. Register for this class by visiting the education page at csldallas.org. Also coming up, Prosperity Plus 3. This will be mid-August, and during the 7-week class, you will study the art and science of transformation. You'll discover techniques to dissolve blocks that sabotage progress. You'll learn about tools to live in harmony with the universal laws that govern success. And who's leading us? Reverend Marcia. Reverend Marcia will be leading the class, Finding Our Pathway to Prosperity. Join her beginning August 15th. You can do this one in person or online. And finally, too, we have Keys to a Spiritual Path, also starting in mid-August. If you're new to CSL Dallas or to the Science of Mind teachings, this is perfect for you. We want to encourage you to take the Keys to Spiritual Path workshop. This will span 2 Saturdays from 2 to 5 in the afternoon, and you'll be guided by our own Reverend Patty, who's leading this workshop for us. She will be helping you understand what our way of living is all about in Science of Mind. Learn the profound technology, and it is a technology of Science of Mind treatment, and other key concepts. Register for this and all our classes and workshops by going to see us at csldallas.org. And before we close out today, we want to remind you that spiritual coaches are available now in the Peace Room, and that's here on campus. And if you're with us online, then you can see a Zoom link in the comments section online today. You can talk with a practitioner for prayer at that link as well. There's always snacks and beverages across the breezeway in Pankey Hall, so please come visit, have some fellowship there. Also, see Priscilla's artwork. She's going to be visiting back there and showing everyone her wood-burning art. If you haven't seen that display, be sure and see that today. Meet with her and let her share with you how she does that. Also, you will see their opportunities to sign up for volunteering and to make donations, or in any way that you'd like to interact with us. We'll be over there and like to see you at Pankey Hall. And now, let us all join together as we sing out this celebration with Love Can Move the World.